Hey, welcome back to A Faster Me. This is going to be the CBR number 2, and this is the 50 plus 123 race. See, James had a little trouble getting clipped in right there, but yeah, this is my second race of the day. I did the 3-4, the open 3-4 earlier in the day. Yeah, it's just again, we're on a pretty hot pace this year. I think most of the races have been fairly fast. Nothing too extreme or anything, but they've been pretty fast, hovering right around 27 miles per hour. And I think that's a pretty good pace. It is interesting though. We're on the Carson side. This race, another 4-corner crit, has a little bit of elevation in it though. That was just turn 2. It's pretty much kind of slightly downhill after turn 1. Kind of downhill here. There's a little hump, but then it's downhill into a fast right-hander. That would be turn 3. And then you get to a little 4 or 5% grade leading up into turn 4 with the false flat back down to the finish. Real short sprint to the finish though. I don't know, maybe 75 yards, 100 at max. But for the most part, whoever comes out of the last corner first pretty much wins the race most of the time. So yeah, this is the little kicker here. Gives you some decent elevation. Like I said, I think it touches just under 5%. Maybe it maxes out at 4. I can't recall, but either way, it's 4 or 5%, depending on where you're at on the road. We had a decent sized field today, but not as big as it has been, at the start of the year. I think a lot of people might be in Tucson. As we get later in the year, there's going to be some conflicting dates with other races that people want to do, so it thins the crowd a little bit. But we still had good numbers. I don't know if we hit 60 or not, but I think we're in the 50s of riders. So the rest of the year has been pretty much maxed out, close to 75 riders. Yeah, so it's funny, the 3-4 race and this race, we averaged about the same speed, almost the exact same. Like I said, a little under 27 miles per hour. I think I did 26.8 in the 3-4 race and 26.6 in this race. But this race has a big crash at the end, so we did a lap kind of slower or whatever the case may be. But it's just funny how you can have two races, same course, same day, and completely different. Like the 3-4 race is a lot more surgy, lines are a little more inconsistent. There's a little bit more busyness going on, and it just races different, a lot more surging, kind of stop and go in and out of corners. And I was pretty efficient in both races, but people think I'm joking when I say it or I'm making excuses, but I'm really out of shape. I'm not even riding 100 miles a week. Sometimes not even 5 hours a week of riding. So I need at least double that for me to actually be in any type of decent shape. But in the 3-4 race, I want to say I averaged 200 watts and normalized was about 230. And in this race, I averaged 190 something, and my normalized was about 217, I think it was. So yeah, definitely you can tell just by those numbers that the 50 plus is like a little smoother, a little more consistent. The 3-4, it's not big. Those weren't big power numbers or anything like that, but it's just a little bit, more jerky. A little bit more stop and go, and we're a little smoother in the 50 plus. Maybe a little more predictable, even though stuff still happens in any race, but a lot more predictable here. And the 3-4 just feels different, feels chaotic, feels uncertain. A lot of, hate to say it, but a lot more like younger people. The 50 plus field is very experienced, not just in age, but in race starts and all that kind of stuff too. It doesn't matter if you're, ex-champion or anything like that. Even the guys that aren't ex-champion, they've raced hundreds and hundreds of times. So, and in the 3-4, you might have someone that hasn't even raced, 20 times yet. So yeah, at speed, this hill is not bad at all. And I don't know if bad is the right word. Like, we're just out here competing, so whatever the course throws at you, everyone has to tackle it. So I wouldn't say the word bad might not be the right word, but it's not as taxing if you take it at speed. And I think that's one of the big differences between like the 50 plus and some of the other categories, like, the lower categories or the open categories, is the way you carry speed. We might be running about the same pace, but often we can carry speed with a lot less power, a lot less stop and go, and just kind of hold our momentum up that turn, up that the little kicker between turns 3 and 4. And for the most part, we got a lot of our usual suspects in the race. Same teams, everything else, pretty much the same players. Like I said, we're probably just missing about 20 people from in this race from that were racing, like, some of the other races in the start of the year here. We're just coming off getting back from Valley of the Sun. The team did great down in Valley of the Sun. We went and we kind of fielded. It's kind of the same as here. Fielded a women's 4-5. Had one male rider in the open 4-5, and then we had a P123 team, and the P123 team did great, probably better than a lot of people expected. We ended up securing 6th place overall in the GC. Unfortunately, we had one crash out there, and I was off my bike for that entire week, and I was basically just labor for the team, just doing all the tent setup and moving. So had a bunch of long days, and honestly, I've been feeling it. This race, I'm sorry, not this race, but the first race, the 3-4 race, was pretty cold in the morning. It was just really hard to warm up. The hamstrings were kind of knotted up. So I'm really glad I did that race, actually, because they felt a little bit better in this race. Yeah, and the 3-4 had a near miss in this corner here, where I think two guys bumped each other and kind of went sideways. But in this race, it's like I said, it's a lot smoother here and a lot more predictable. You can kind of see people's intentions. And the 3-4, just every once in a while, someone just does something kind of, kind of rapidly, just, something a little bit out of the ordinary. And I don't know how many people like finished. It looks like a lot of people didn't finish this race, and unfortunately, when we get to the crash, that took out a big number of people. I would have to guess close to 10 people or something got taken out in that spill at the end. But also the pace got a couple people also early before the crash even happened. Yeah, for the most part, I'm just sitting in this race as usual. It's kind of funny, too, how we complain about the weather all the time. Sometimes rightfully so, but for the most part, we have it really good in California, and it was hot today. By the time we finished this race, it was hot. It was only like, in the 50s in the morning, which was, pretty cold, but I think on the day it got close to 80 degrees, and you can see on the top of the screen, it says 81 right now. And as good as that sounds and as nice as that weather is, when you're used to it, just, it's winter time here. We're only in February. So when you're used to it being in the 60s and then all of a sudden you get a day where you're racing at 81, it can feel really hot and kind of drain you a little bit. That's Frank in front of me right there. Spent a lot of time with him. Unfortunately, he got caught up in the crash too, and I think his top tube got cracked. I know it did. He was tinted with us, or pitted with us, like, in the tent. And when he came off after the crash, yeah, his top tube was cracked pretty good, and he has no clue how it happened. And I'm not even sure if he actually fell all the way down or not, but yeah, top tube is cracked and maybe it hit another bike or don't know how exactly it snapped. It didn't snap actually, it's just cracked. So yeah, if you see the comparison between this video and the 3.4 video, even though the 3.4 video was just slightly faster, yeah, this is way smoother than the 3.4 video. I think we just keep a decent speed just all through the 50 minutes. And this is a longer race. You know, it's 10 minutes longer. Yeah, forgive me if I'm dragging a little bit too. It's late night. But I just decided to throw this video out because I got multiple videos to get out from the weekend. And if I don't get them out like within the first few days, I get really backed up. Not only do I get backed up, people kind of forget about them and they're looking forward to the next race or the current weekend's race. And then they don't watch these anyway if I put them out late. So I just try to stay on top of them. That's Dustin in front of me. Dustin, I think, got caught up in the crash too. I'm not sure if he went down, but, you know, it pretty much ended his race. Ended a lot of people's race. I don't even know how many people actually finished, to be honest with you. As you can see, we're not completely strung out, but it's still a good pace. You know, 26 up the little false flat there. Guys are trying to break away like the entire race, which has been a breakaway almost every week. So, you know, it's to be expected that people are going to try to reduce the field size and just, you know, get off the front and race with the group of 5 or so. Yeah, I still don't really, I don't know if I still really associate these kits with the Evoke yet, but, you know, they definitely stand out. And I think they have decent numbers in this race as well. They always have a, you know, decent squad, but I think they have at least six riders in this race. And Jerry's riding for Evoke this year. I want to say Jerry may have done 4 races this day, which got to give it to him. Like I said, I'm not in shape to do 4 races. Doing 2 was a good enough for me. But I think Jerry did the 60 plus. Yeah, I think he did the 60 plus, the 50 plus, the 40 plus, and the P123, the open P123. Yeah, but you can see how far back I am too. You know, I'm not last or anything like that, but you can see it's stretched out. It's pretty much half a straightaway. The Peloton's pretty much stretched out half a straightaway, so I'm definitely in the back third of the group. Yes, a group this size also just punches a big hole in the air. You can't tell you know, like always, the camera doesn't do it justice, but when you come through here, basically after turn 1 through turn 3, it's kind of like a head crosswind through here. I'll see if we can see the flags on the front straight because I know there's a few flags on the front straight, but it's pretty windy actually through here. And then going up the hill, I think we actually had a tailwind going up the hill. So the wind's coming here from the left to the right. Yeah, so I think there's a slight tailwind here going up the hill. And you can tell I'm being fairly efficient. Those are like the lowest heart rate numbers I've seen in a race. You know, I thought we'd be able to see the flag, but I actually didn't notice it. So don't know if it wasn't there or if I just didn't notice it. So yeah, it's definitely bunched up now. You can tell the speed slowed down a lot. I think there's a group off the front as well. Yep, I can see them down the road. There's a small group of like 4 off the front. There's a little spot right there in that apex of that turn that has like a very rough patch. And it's nothing like too bad. It's not going to make you crash or anything like that, but it does have a rough patch and just kind of kicks a lot of little pebbles out everywhere. Other than that, I think this side of the course is like, it's pretty smooth. It's very smooth, really. And this is, you know, the fastest part of the course right here, basically. And it's turn 3. And it's perfect because it gives you the momentum just to get up the hill easier. You can see we hit that the bottom of this hill at about 29 miles per hour. Man, I hope you guys can't hear me yawning, but it's happening. Yeah, you know, it's funny. Usually I like this this direction that we're going today. You know, clockwise on this side of the street. I like the other side better, but yeah, I thought I like it going this way up the hill because the hill's steep, but it's really short. I don't really like going the other way. Just, you know, majority of the course becomes a false flat that kind of gets steeper as you go, and it just kind of wears on you late in the race. But I was struggling a little bit today. I mean, I wasn't really struggling like fitness wise, but yeah, like the hamstrings, and I have some knee issues right now too, but just some knee pain. But the hamstrings were just like really wanting to quit earlier in the day. Not on this race necessarily, but in the first race for sure, my hamstrings were just all knotted up. Yeah, as you can see, like they're trying to close that gap up to the front, but there's like 6 riders, maybe 8 riders off the front, a small gap, and then the rest of the peloton. You can see we're going uphill 4% at 29 miles per hour. So definitely, you know, they had the hammer down for that little stretch there, but I think it was just for closing the gap to the breakaway. You know, once you get that close, a lot of people want to close it quickly. You know, I could have followed the rider up there, but like I said, I didn't really want to be at the front too much, so I just pulled off of the Evoke rider and slotted in here behind the Go Fast rider. And that was my plan for the whole day. Like, I don't know, I didn't think I had legs really, so I was just trying to, you know, race a little smart and just kind of save energy. And that was a pretty late move up the inside, but there was enough room there. And obviously, we're not going to turn it really tight there. So, you know, hopefully the rider knew that and just, you know, said, hey, it's not going to turn tight, so I'll have room. We always exit to the outside of the turn there. This side, for some reason, I know why, obviously, is for protection. But after we come out of the turn, we always kind of swing it back to the right. And Usually, somebody's up front playing games, not wanting to pull the whole group. This race kind of went by kind of fast to me also. It's longer than the 3-4 race, but I think the 3-4 race was just so herky-jerky that it kind of prolonged it, made it seem like a long race, even though it was only 40 minutes. And this one's 50, but these 50 minutes just kind of flew by. And like I said, we haven't pretty much stretched out the entire race. There was only a few times I recall that it kind of bunched up pretty good, and even when it did, those were kind of short-lived. I'm just kind of drifting right there, so I decided to slot back in behind Frank here. I was kind of drifting off to the right. This is really, you can make up a lot of spots here if you really wanted to kind of take it up the inside. Obviously, you can go around, but you can get, there's a chance at being disqualified if you go outside those cones. If you go outside the cone and they see you, you're definitely disqualified. One of my teammates got disqualified earlier in the day for going outside the cones. Was forced out, like by I shouldn't say a crash because I don't think it was a crash, but, just someone pushing them wide. There's a lot of room to my left here, but I don't know why. I don't like riding in the gutter, like, ever. I never really liked riding in the gutter. And I see a lot of people kind of move up just riding in the gutter, but yeah. This here narrows down a little bit too, so you see like Ironfly coming in from the cones, and I didn't have to back off, obviously. I could have went forward or backwards, but it was narrowing pretty quick, and instead of having one of us to make a critical decision, I decided just to back off right there. Yeah, it's definitely slowed down here, and nobody's punching it up the hill. I think this is the slowest we've been up the hill. Yeah, it's definitely stretched out now. Got a little acceleration going. I don't remember the race being truly single file too many times, but like I said, the speed was pretty high though. I know a lot of other people, not a lot, but some other people may not think 27 miles per hour is that fast, but it is. It's pretty fast. It's a pretty decent effort by the group. Yeah, but hopefully everyone's all right from the crash. Obviously, like I said, I know Frank's bike is cracked, and hopefully they can either repair it. Well, yeah, they're either going to have to repair it or get him a new frame, obviously. Don't know if he had insurance or anything like that, but Hopefully everybody's all right from the crash and no serious injuries. I heard that somebody was down for a pretty long time. Also, come out to Costa Mesa on the 2nd. That's going to be a good event, good track, fast track. We're sponsoring the women's purse for the race. But yeah, it'd be great to have a bunch of people out next week at the Costa Mesa Grand Prix. I'm gonna butcher it. Oh, I think the Elizabeth Taylor Clifford Memorial. Or yeah. So yeah, come out and support that. Let's see if we can get some big numbers out in Costa Mesa. I think last year was the first year we did that track, and it's a pretty good track. I didn't get to race it last year. I was coming off a crash, and I did get to race it. I didn't get to race it the first time. Was coming off a crash. Arm was in a sling. And the second time I did race it, I was scheduled to race twice. Had AFib in the first race and ended up pulling out. That was in the 30 plus 3-4. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this year to get a couple races in and kind of enjoy that course. Again, that's March 2nd. Yeah, we're definitely in cruise mode now, just kind of cruising through here. It got a little bunched up in the corner there, but that's what happens when we're going kind of slower and it gets kind of, you're going in 5 wide, 6 wide to a corner instead of having it just a little bit more strung out. Yeah, we're about halfway through the race now. I think they had a bunch of preems today also. Yeah, they had a bunch of preems today in every race basically. And I think even I'm not sure. I think Don's Bikes, they may have threw in another $200 in the women's race, which is kind of cool. Or was it the men's race? I think it was the men's 4-5 race, and they just came in doing a $200 in preems, $50 preems for 4 extra laps. Not extra, but 4 more laps of preems. So it ends up being like it was almost a preem every lap. Yeah, like I said, these races they've been fairly fast this year. I'm pretty sure we'll probably start getting over 27 miles per hour as the season, people start warming up for the season and kind of get into more race shape. Pretty sure the speed's just going to get a little faster. And it's funny, they say these courses are about the same size, the Carson and the Dominguez side. But I always think of the Dominguez side as like the big course, and this is the small course. And obviously, lap times on this side they're way faster than the other side. I think people hover around 2-minute mark on the other side. I think I've done I want to say 140 something was my fastest. But on this side, they're talking about the course record, and the course record is like 118. So definitely, it may not be bigger, it may not be a smaller course, but it definitely is, kind of like a faster course or a course that you can carry speed on. Yeah, I'm not sure if the break just came back and now some guys are trying to go again, or if they're trying to organize a chase to bring the break back. Yeah, I'm going to see if I can locate that flag off to the right side. Pretty big American flag. Oh, there's the flags there. They look like they're barely moving right now. So it doesn't look like the wind is too strong there, but they all are also protected by a building to their, just right behind them. So they may not be getting the wind exposure they need for me to be able to tell how strong the wind is. Yeah, still got guys off the front. I see someone trying to bridge to it now, bridge to the breakaway. And if you see right when we turn, there's like a group off the front up there. I don't know how many seconds they have, but all right. I think we're starting to wind down a little bit to about 10 laps to go or so. Maybe a little more, 12 laps or so. These streets are pretty wide too, just lends itself to like multiple lanes, multiple angles and turn-in points. You would think that it'd be kind of hard to move up, but yeah, with the road so wide, you can kind of take any lines you want and stuff like that. So if the Peloton's off to the left, yeah, somebody can be, or another group can be completely to the right side, and it's easy to just kind of get swarmed. You move up so many spots, and then next thing you know, there's people moving like over to the right side or over to your left, and you can't kind of jump on it. You can't get to them just because there's bikes in the way. Kind of like this, like I'm sitting here and you see the right side is moving now, so you end up losing like 8 spots right there. It's just a constant battle of like shuffling to the front, which is normal. Like they say, if you're not going forward, you're going backwards. All right, we got the speed kind of ramping up a little bit here. It's not too fast, but it's starting to ramp up just a little. Yeah, I'm falling asleep, so I hope I'm not mumbling. Yeah, the speed's definitely down. This is probably one of the slowest times we went up this little kicker, 23 miles per hour. So yeah, I got a bunch of the stage 2 guys. We're kind of battling with stage 2 right now for the overall team lead and points for the series. I think we're in second to stage 2. Can't remember what the points difference is, but hopefully we'll get to battle it out with them all year. Yeah, I think sometimes people need to anticipate like the movement of the Peloton. Like you see when people are weaving on the backstretch, or if this can be considered the backstretch, you know it's going to kind of, you know where it's going to come back to. You know, depending on if it's a left hand or right hand turn, you kind of know where it's going to come back to. And I think sometimes, I guess it's just a little frustration when people get caught out from the Peloton weaving up front, just because you know it's coming back. If it's really tight to one side, you know it's going to come back and move to the left for the right hand turn. And honestly, I'm a little surprised that, you know, I know I'm just sitting in, but I'm a little surprised that I'm even able to sit in with the, you know, short amount of time that I've been kind of training on the bike. Even like I'm not this last year, but not 2024, but the like years before, I was always over like 8,000 miles of riding for the year. And I think last year I only did about 5,000 miles. And that's a pretty big difference when you're trying to race. You know, sometimes you need that volume. Just having some high intensity stuff sometimes doesn't get it. You need that volume as well. Definitely, you know, kind of build out your aerobic base. Just in the, not only in the off season, but during the seasons. Yeah, you're going to cut your volume down a little bit. But like I said, I'm only doing about 5 miles and 5 hours right now, 6 hours, and less than 100 miles a week. Which I don't really care about the miles, but I do care about the time. Definitely need to double kind of my time if I'm going to be riding in these races. So yeah, you can see how bunched up it is right there at the front. And I think there's still a breakaway. I thought for sure the breakaway just is going to win it easily, like it has been winning the last few races. So we're probably down to about the last 9-10 laps now. Yeah, it's definitely I think all of our courses are just fast, basically. All of them are really flowing fast, nothing too technical. It's funny, anytime I think the only technical course we even have out here is probably the Upland Crit. That's the only one that's like fairly technical. I mean, I've heard people refer to Marietta as technical, but it's not technical. It's just not a four-corner crit. It's more of an L-shaped crit. Had some little near misses there. Nothing special, just a little rubbing. I heard some of the girls talking about, like, you know, just the Southern California crits and how fast they are. They're pretty much saying, like, they're the fastest. I'm sorry, some of the girls that race in Northern California also. But they were basically saying, like, yeah, it's, you know, you kind of can't beat the Southern California crits as far as speed. And of course, up north, they have, like, some different crits, different layouts. They typically have some elevation in their crits, and like usually it is a little bit more technical than ours. I'm probably babbling all over all over this video. I sometimes can't even remember what I was even talking about. Like I said, we've been up since 4 this morning, so but I basically just have to get one video out the first night, or the whole week goes by, and the other videos aren't mine, other than the 3-4. But I have some other videos to process, so it takes more time to process those because sometimes I need the other writer present. So it's really easy for me to just pop out one of my videos, especially since I should remember some of what's going on in the race since I raced it. But yeah, so we're probably down to about, I'm guessing 5 laps to go, maybe. Yeah, I got to do some learning and maybe figure out how to get the laps on here, like or a countdown. Countdown to laps or countdown to distance. Yeah, we're still going at a steady pace here, not moving too fast, but definitely not moving slow either. There's a lot of factor bikes now, and I wonder what the motivation is. Like, why all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but, why is everybody on, or I'm seeing more factor bikes now? Yeah, here we go, spread all across the road again, so definitely the speed is down. Yeah, I think when we come around again, we may only have 4 laps. In this race too, this is my second race of the day, but I don't know, the surface felt like it just got a little more beat up. Like my hands went numb, both of them. My butt was numb, and it felt like it was just a lot of vibration on the course. There are definitely a lot of little like loose gravel, even though they're not here, but on that other side between what is it, turns 2 and 3. There's just like a lot of loose gravel over there, and you can hear it just like bouncing off the frames of the bikes. Yeah, this course is definitely plays kind of like a 30-30 interval session. So at least I was a little prepared for that. Definitely down only a couple laps to go, maybe 3 laps to go. Yeah, so we might just be going into, I don't know if this is the second to last lap or entering the last lap here. Might be second to last lap. So this might be where the crash takes place on the top of turn 4. I think I'm a little too far back to see exactly what happens. But yeah, definitely interesting. Some people say a tire blew out. I don't really know what happened. A lot of the spectators said they heard a big bang, like a tire blew out and then the crash. Some people say, well, they were already making contact with each other before the tire blew out. So I don't really know what happened. See if we can see it up to the, kind of like in the middle of the screen. I think I might be too far back, or it's the next lap actually. Oh no, there it is there. Yeah, it's kind of the middle of the screen, and that took out like that whole left side of the Peloton there. So that was like 2 laps to go, and going into the last lap here. And I was sitting kind of pretty with my heart rate, but that little adrenaline spike just shot my heart rate up. I think I was like 170 something before that. Now I'm in the 180s, and yeah, I just don't have like any oxygen to my legs. Like there's just no muscle left. I can barely keep the pedals going. And obviously the group is right there. I needed to just put the effort in and close that. And then, I'd at least have the benefit of the draft. So then Jerry flies by me and he tells me to jump on, try to accelerate a little bit. But like I said, I really don't have any legs here. It's the same old story. People look like they're right in front of you, but yeah, when there's a gap like that, like it's not as close as it looks. So, but yeah, that was the 50 plus for the day. I don't know. I maybe got 20th. I think it was 20th on the day. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. I'll get the 3-4 out pretty soon, maybe by tomorrow. And then, yeah, come check us out at Costa Mesa, and I'll have those videos ready as well.